11, 1 minute past our fashionable 10 minutes late. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Zena Crenshaw-Logal, and on behalf of the U.S. Friends of Marafa Committee, I welcome you to our Poetry Jam, and thank you for joining us. You know, socially conscious art is the tie that binds all of us. I mention that because each of us has our own reason for gathering this evening, and I know the reasons are not, all the same. But uniting an audience as diverse as ours is the kind of diversity, and that we wanted, and is why the U.S. Friends of Marafa Committee, as well as Theater for Justice, created a platform for teaching about the plight of political prisoner Marafa Hamidou Yaya. And we also exhibit socially conscious art. Now, what I'd like to do is, I apologize for our late start, technical difficulties. People have difficulty connecting, but hopefully we'll get into the groove of things and we'll forget all those bumps and bruises. I'd like to introduce you to Mrs. Sarah Roach, the creative director at Theater for Justice, and also to Ms. Belinda Parker Brown. Hopefully she'll be able to get on screen. She is CEO of Louisiana United International, which supports Mr. Marafa and other political prisoners around the world. Would you like to say a few words, Mrs. Roach? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I'm having a little bit of difficulty with my the speaker part of things here. So I don't know if anybody can hear me, but it's really good to be here. It was a challenge, but I'm glad to be able to be here and to witness this extremely wonderful talent and to be a supporter of Marafa.
Thank you so much. Now, we haven't gotten Ms. Parker Brown on video, and she was switching from one device to another. There she is. There she is. Go ahead and say hello to everybody. You're still muted. Unmute yourself. There
Okay,
you go.
And I'm trying to learn this technology, but I just want to say hello to everyone. Thank you so very, very much for being a part of this very important, but most of all necessary, event tonight. And I'm looking forward to just having some tremendous entertainment from these very talented and gifted artists that are going to be a part of this. So I just want to say that, until we all realize that no one is free until we all are free. So on behalf of all political prisoners, especially, in wake of the COVID-19, people are suffering inside of the prisons and jails across the country. So we're going to, in solidarity, put on this event tonight and hoping that they would know that we are for them and that somebody really do care. Thank you, Dr. Zena.
Thank you so much. Can somebody do me a technical favor? I think I have this thing programmed where it's a speaker view. So whoever is speaking, that's who you see on the screen. Is that what you all are seeing in the audience? Okay, so whoever is speaking that's who you see, right? Okay, that's what I intended. This Zoom instructions are a bit confusing to me, and I'm doing the AV and everything else, serving refreshments. I've got to do it all, and so just bear with me. Okay, I have a couple of more commercial breaks planned, but since we got started late, I'm going to go to letting everybody meet our poets, and I'll do my commercial breaks later. First up, if everybody could mute themselves, if you're not one of our poets, and Sarah Adamson's gonna go first. So if everybody can mute themselves, we're going to meet this dynamic young spoken word artist, poet. She is the dynamic Sarah Adams. And you're going to be able to tell that even just from this short video. It's going to be clear just how, phenomenal she is. So hold on for a second. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I got, okay. So let's see if this works. Can everybody see and hear?
Sarah Adams is a ninth grader at East High School in Rochester, New York. She is a member of the Teen Activist Project under NYCLU, and she is also a Youth History Ambassador at Teen Empowerment. Sarah has organized walkouts to protest her teachers being cut, and just recently she organized a protest focusing on Black Lives Matter in school and in education. One of the students' demands was to remove police from schools, and in Rochester, they actually successfully did that. Sarah spends most of her time writing poetry, reading, or hanging out with friends. Speak My Freedom into Existence welcomes Sarah Adams, a spoken word poet. Welcome to our evening of intergenerational spoken word poetry.
Okay. Without further ado, Sarah Adams.
You want me to do my poetry now, or are we going to introduce everybody?
Go ahead and do yours now.
Okay. So my first poem that I'm going to read is a poem that I recently wrote for my work at Teen Empowerment, and it's about the history of Rochester. So there's going to be a lot of references to things that some people might not know, but it's Rochester related, so that's why. Close your eyes. Let's take a trip back in time. Let's go to the year 1964. You're a Black person, and your rights are very limited. If you're not on Joseph or Clarissa, you in trouble. Your house don't got running water, and it's made of sticks and rubble. You want an industrial job? Sucks for you. Because when George Eastman said no Blacks could work at his factory, Xerox and Bosch and Lomb said it too. So segregated with the red-lined areas and the green-lined areas. So many weights on your shoulders, but you continue to carry them. And you overcame them. You built your own business. You became your own entertainers and barbers and chefs and dentists. You said with or without the white man, you was gonna make it. Cause ain't no resilience like the Black people's resilience, cause the Black people's resilience don't stop. And it won't. Flashing lights and siren sounds, the police tried to shut you down. But little did they know, you knew to stand your ground. It was rebellion. Some folks died, many folks was hurt. But you did what you had to do to be heard. Clearly it wasn't enough though, because 56 years later, our PD still don't know how to protect and serve. So wake up, because that wasn't just a flashback. As you see, history repeats itself. We still in poverty. We're still the second choice. White supremacy is very much alive. And we're not about to pretend that Black people aren't still dying and that everything is fine. Like they won't take away my life. That's why on May 30th, 2020, for the second time, we decided to uprise. We decided that, again, we were going to make our voice be heard. Because for so long, they've tried to kick it to the curb. But no. You see, we're not about to make the same mistake as before. We have our demands listed out, and they will be met if one thing's for sure. Number 1, free them all. So it's understandable for a white kid who got bullied for a year or two to shoot up a school, but black folks can't let out anger built up from 400 years of oppression for a day. Number 2, defund the police. You spend $100 million on cops who can't even solve crimes, but let all these people be without homes, without food, without education, without basic human needs. Number 3, remove police from the Rochester City School District. Check mark. Number 4, serve the people. If you're an elected official, the people put you in that position to serve the people. So do it. Number 5, demilitarize the police. I shouldn't be sprayed down with tear gas, shot with rubber bullets that aren't really rubber, by the way, and stormed down by riot cops when protesting those riot cops because, you know, it is my right to protest. Number 6, repeal 50A. Check mark. Definitely watching what you do, Mr. Officer. Number 7, cancel the rent. Like I said, there's no reason these cops should be getting so much money, and there's people who don't even have homes. Housing is a human right. When we said we got all summer, we meant it. And we got all fall, and all winter, and all spring, and all summer again. So yes, I will exercise my First Amendment right to the Constitution. And I leave you with this. You can't stop the revolution. So that's my first poem. And thank you. And my next one is one that I wrote right after the first, when George Floyd got killed. And I wrote this when, like, right when the uprisings in Rochester and the rebellions happened in Rochester on May 30th. And we had our second protest, and I decided to speak at this one. They all wanted me to speak, but I didn't know what to say, so I wrote a poem because that's easier for me than like writing a speech. I don't know why, but it is. Racist America, this one's for you, especially for those who walk around dressed in blue. For what you do. Your mentality is questions last, first attack. Because they black, you immediately choose to harass, right? And don't say he was resisting, because I watched the video and that resisting is missing. And even if he did, you don't need violence and guns. Y'all so quick to pull the trigger. You treat it like it's fun. Y'all killed Tamir when he was only 12 years young. And then they killed Ahmaud at 26 while he was on the run. Mike Brown, Philando, Freddie, and Eric, all killed by cops who were just like Derek Chauvin. He's the one who murdered George Floyd. There's no reason that police should be who we avoid. But when they prejudice, you ain't really got another choice. Steer clear or they gonna shoot you. Don't make too much noise. Now listen. Your prejudice is sickening. Race doesn't determine innocence. We know your moves are deliberate. You want our race to be the race of imprisonment, or not a race at all. So you kill us and take away our lives and get suspended with pay as if everything's all right. While families of the victims fight for justice while they cry. When you called this the land of the free, you told a lie. So that's that one. I have I have 3 more left. So this one is a piece about different like experiences in school. I didn't get my first Black teacher till 6th grade. And I feel like it's that way for a reason. They don't hire Black educators as much. They hire educators who live in the city, and they don't teach us about our own history. And that they do that for a reason. So that's what this poem is about. Kwame Ture said, the first thing the enemy will do is not control your history, but control your understanding of history. His story. Long, thin hair, thin lips, blue eyes. Why don't my teachers have skin like mine? Why haven't I learned about anything but slavery? I know my people were and are and will always be great, no matter what racist system the white man creates. We are kings and queens, entrepreneurs and inventors. We were and are fighters, but they don't want us to remember. You see, knowledge is power, and they're scared. Because when you got a strong and educated and beautiful Black person, can nobody compare. Teach me about the political prisoners and your illegal COINTELPRO. Teach me about how the 13th Amendment and its except for a punishment for crime is just the new Jim Crow. Teach me about how before you captured and enslaved us, we were royalty. Loyalty to America, that's what it is, right? Your contributions to the system that only serves people whose skin is white and oppresses the people whose skin looks like mine. I'm so tired of sitting in class learning about being oppressed by white people. I already learned from experience every single day. Knowledge is power. I can't stress that enough. When the numbers and statistics just roll off my tongue, that's impact for real. When my brain becomes a walking encyclopedia on my history and the present day, and those people in the fancy offices realize I'm just as competent as them, they ain't got nothing else to say. You're smart, but I'm smart too. And I'm not small-minded and divisive like you. I'm willing to hear the other side, unlike you who just denies. But when it comes to a debate of America no longer being racist, I will always take the prize. America's not racist, but you can't sleep without the police killing you if you're Black folks. That had to be a joke. Racism is like weeds in a garden. You can rip them out of their roots, but they'll always come back in a different form. But Black people are the gardeners, so beautifully resilient. They will always rip those weeds away, even after a thunderstorm. I'm calling for a change in curriculum, the right to learn my history, the bare minimum. I'm calling for more educators who look like Mr. Howard Griffin here. Representation matters. My demands are very clear. All I want to do is learn the history of myself. So my demands, they will be met, with or without your help.
Amazing. Keep going, Sarah.
This next one is actually one that I wrote this one back in December when I did the student-led walkouts when we were protesting, because the Rochester School District is in like a well, at the time we were in a $30 million deficit. It's like tripled now, but at the time we were in about a $30 million deficit, and it was so bad that teachers weren't going to make payroll unless we did mid-year cuts. So we had to cut teachers in the middle of the school year, and we were protesting that because we didn't like the way that teachers were cut. They're cut based on seniority. So like if you had just been hired that year, you would have automatically been fired because you were so new. But I feel like it should have been based on like skill level. So one of my teachers, he was new and he was young. He was young, so of course he was new and he was just getting into the system. But he got cut. But the thing about it is he's like one of the best teachers. I know teachers who've been in the district for 25 years and he's 10 times better than them, but they fired him because it's only based on seniority. And that was a problem to us. So that's what this poem is about. Systematic racism. the cause. Minority students missing out, the effects. Being born Black means being born wrong. Being born Black means that you don't matter. It's a setup. Continuously going through the exact same thing. As we try to shine, we are shown no acknowledgement. But when we do finally shine, it's no big deal because, you know, the whites already been there and they already done that. As I see my fellow peers who don't look much like me get into an event that I was told I had to leave, this is an example of the crooked world that we live in. 3 miles up the road, they're getting money for enhancements, while we're stuck making cuts leading to a lack of an advancement. They say to drop the guns, but then they bring them in our schools. Please tell me how that adds up, because right now I'm confused. When you take profiling and weapons, it doesn't end up good. Because now all of a sudden you want to shoot me because I'm your image of the hood. How is it that a headband can be dress coded? And furthermore, how is it that a dress code can affect my education? I don't get it. Now, is this school or is it prison? Because your precautions are very extended. No, I don't have a weapon, and I already turned my phone in. Sorry, I forgot to remove my jewelry, but why are you being so forceful? This is how students feel before they even reach their classrooms. So how can you expect for us to thrive with no emotion? I want to learn my history, and I mean for real. I don't want to just learn that Rosa Parks sat in the front of the bus, or that Frederick Douglass helped bring an end to slavery, which is back now, by the way, in a different form called incarceration. I want to learn about more than the same 5 African Americans, because we are more than that. But you disregard, and you glorify your white progression that's rooted in oppression, leaving us in a depression that hasn't brought us anywhere but here. Sarah Adams, that's my name. Doesn't ring a bell? What about this? 890-217-928. You need to know that I'm more than that number, and my peers are more than their number. You'll know soon, though. I promise you that. You don't care about how we are. You just care about how the results look. And let's face it, they're not as good as you want them. Why, you ask? Because learning takes more than a worksheet and a pencil. Learning takes engagement. Learning takes time. Learning takes dedication. Learning takes belief. All of which our district has nowhere near enough of. Whose fault is this, you ask? Some say the district. Some say it's the governor and the state. And some say it's the teachers union. But to tell you the truth, it's all of the above. 86 million, we ain't leaving. Yup, that was us in Albany. Now give us our foundation aid and you'll see that we're more than kids from gangs. We are the future. So that's that poem.
And how many more, Sarah?
One more.
One more. Go ahead, knock them out.
So this one is actually one that the teacher who got cut helped me. Like that's the reason I started poetry, honestly, was because of that teacher. I used to hate poetry, to be honest, but he gave me like a prompt for like a school assignment, and I had to do it, of course, because it was for school, and it turned into this whole poem that I ended up doing at the Black History Assembly and everything. And then I found that I could write poetry. So that just goes to show that clearly he didn't need to be being cut, but this is the first poem I ever wrote. And I don't even have a name for it, but here I go. What in the world do I have to claim for you to understand that we're all the same? We're not the only ones you have to blame. And the way that you treat us, it's really a shame. All I want you to know is that people are people, and that walking down the street It's not illegal. But killing colored people, you make that seem legal. Why can't you understand that we're all equal? Did you know that you got people out here wishing to live? Because y'all kill people simply for the color of their skin. All this negativity, it's gotta come to an end. I wanna see some world peace. When will it begin? Breaking news, a black man just got shot. And apparently it has something to do with a cop. That's the same thing I hear all the time, nonstop. I want to see something positive. Chill with the gunshots. I don't even know how to put it into words. It's like the world got itself stuck up under a curse. Kids are dying. There's police violence. About it, they're lying. And it's terrifying. Hands up, don't shoot. It's more than just a saying. It's a message representing the events that keep replaying. Innocent black people getting shot by all these racists. And the change that's soon to come is something that keeps on delaying. Because honestly, the person being killed is all that's changing. Watching colored people die, is it something entertaining? Police brutality is something still remaining, and the power is something they're continuously gaining. But why? Why can't these innocent lives be worth saving? And why is it the black folks that you always end up blaming? Let's come together and put an end to all this hatred. Please just stop all of the violence, because I'm hoping and I'm praying. And that's the first poem I wrote. And I just want to say it's so crazy because I wrote this poem almost 4 years ago. And it's like so relevant. Like you could think that I wrote it yesterday because of how relevant it is to today. And that's just crazy.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And you know, we got time constraints and we got other performers, but I just want to have a few minutes if we could sort of get some feedback from Theater for Justice creative director and from Miss Belinda Parker Brown of LUI. Just a few minutes before we move on. I'm just, you know, like, wow.
Dr. Zena, I can't wait to give some feedback. You know, that young lady, wow, Sarah, oh my gosh. The last poem, yes, sweetheart, you are absolutely right. You were before your time. And, you know, it really shows the talent and the ability of how you are so passionate in what you believe in. So I just want to say thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. It means so much.
Yeah, sure enough. Ms. Roach?
I am so proud. Oh my God, I'm so proud. I'm telling you right now, for a long time, I considered that the future looked bleak for young people. With your kind of strength, with your kind of veracity and your knowledge, I can see a really, really strong future. You know, it takes a lot to be able to recognize what's happening, because a lot of us don't really see what's really happening. But when the youth still come out, and no matter what, you stand strong like this with your knowledge, it doesn't matter. We're gonna do this. We're gonna fix this. It's gonna be good. And I'm so proud of you, young lady. You make me so proud to have the name Sarah. I'm gonna walk around with a big head now because my name's Sarah too. I am so proud of you. Please keep writing. Please keep doing what you do. Everybody needs you.
14 years old. Well, you got all kinds of praise in our chat box from your veteran spoken word poets. Bravo, bravo. You know, hopefully we'll have a moment for them to give some feedback on your performance. They've been around the block a couple of more times than you, but we're going to, for the sake of making sure we have enough time to enjoy their presentation, I'm going to keep moving on, and I want to share my screen again. And hopefully I can do that a bit more proficiently. Okay, let me do this. Now, can you all see a PowerPoint? Is that what you see on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Okay, now let me Now, what you all see on the screen, I'm sharing my screen for a few reasons. First, I want to introduce everybody to our tip jar for Sarah Adams. You know, it says tips are like hugs without all the touching. So this, what you see at the bottom of the screen, that's a PayPal link where we can all go right now. I'm sharing my screen so nobody can see you, and I'm sure everybody's got their phone out and they're typing in what you see at the bottom of the screen, paypal.me//Sarah Adams 0220. And you can go right now and show Sarah our appreciation for delighting us with her presence and her talent, her poetry, her recital, her power, her revolutionary spirit. That's what we want you to do right now, okay? That's what I'd like for you all to do. PayPal.me/Sarah Adams 0220. If you can do that right now, I'm going to show that at different times throughout the program, and I'll put it in our chat box. But you can do that right now. Nobody's watching, nobody's looking. We just want to hear back about all that money that Sarah gets, as a result of our tips and our appreciation for our performances. Next, I promised you all a commercial. Okay, now, what I'm showing you is, this is a picture of me before, this is my pre-blonde days, when I wasn't having any fun. And I decided to have more fun and become blonde. But remember that we are the U.S. Friends of Marafa Committee. And if you haven't been to our Facebook page or joined our mobile app, you may not know about Marafa. And we want to change all that. But there are those of us who have followed Marafa's story, so you do know the details, but what we're missing from you is your free Marafa selfie. So what I'd like for you all to do right now, nobody's watching, is grab something, anything you can write on, and write free Marafa, with an exclamation point. You could, since we're pressed for time, you can only use one instead of three like I did. Take a quick selfie of yourself holding this sign, and then I want you to email the photograph to marafawatch@gmail.com, just like you see at the bottom of the screen. Okay? Now, before his performance begins, I'm going to introduce our next spoken word poet, Wayne Gooden, who's also known as Elder X. But let me keep sharing my screen for now, and I'm going to show you this video, if I can figure out how to do that easy enough. Okay, now, okay, nope, that's not what I want. Excuse me for being less than proficient with this screen sharing. They pay me so much money to do this, and I'm just not getting it done. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to start over again. Okay, and can everybody see it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Wayne Gooden, also known as Elder X, is a spoken word performer, lyricist, and MC who has combined hip-hop rap with the spoken word. Elder X hails from the Lower East Side of Manhattan and has appeared at poetry cafes in New York City as well as Atlanta, Georgia, where he lives now. Mr. Gooden is a motivational speaker who speaks on spiritual principles to battle addiction, depression, and to have self-esteem. Child prodigy seems a fair way of describing young Wayne Gooden. In the 8th grade, he spoke for our president and at the United Nations after placing third in an essay and public speaking contest addressing UNICEF and what it meant to him. Mr. Gooden is currently working on his spoken word career and is in the process of making professional videos and recordings. He is basically a conscientious poet who writes on his life experiences with spirituality, addiction, depression, and the uplifting of women, who he addresses as queens. Mr. Gooden is an avid Facebook user, and his videos and writings can be found on his Facebook page daily. He can be contacted for motivational speaking and poetry performances through his Facebook page or email. Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne Gooden, also known as Elder X. Unmute yourself, Elder.
Blessings to everyone. I just want to say real quick, Sarah, that was so powerful. I was so moved. I had to put my phone down and go right into the chat box. I am so encouraged by your work. You are so powerful, young queen. Very powerful.
Now, Elder X, thank you. Now, I'm seeing your screen because I know you're using audio and you got a video, but for some reason, I'm only seeing your just your name. Can you turn on your video?
Well, actually, I don't have a camera
Okay.
on my, but I'm also on my phone too. I'm on
Yes.
Zoom on my phone. Let me see. Start video.
Yes.
Make sure that your camera's powered and on. Is connected to your computer. No.
No, you can't do it. Okay, I'll tell you what. I think I got a hack that we could use.
Okay.
Okay. Now everybody should be able to see him, right? Okay. So we got you audio and we got you visual. It's just that you're not the only person on the screen. So go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Sarah. That was very powerful. And I love the way the show is going, regardless of the technicality of everything, because we're all new to this new world of the COVID and getting adjusted to doing what we're doing right now.
Thank you, Elder X, for making me feel better.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, doctor. So I have some poetry, and I'm reading it off my Facebook, so let me get to it. The first one is called "You Are a Walking Melanin Indigenous Queendom." You can never be duplicated or replicated, though many have tried. How can one steal or emulate or dare try to harness the energy of the sun or its shine? Your lips widen and broaden, your almond diamond eyes, your hips of artistic, sensuous proportions, and melanin, eternal youth is what they despise. How your skin takes an eternity to wrinkle, and how your walk is the highest standard of regal splendor. How your strength and fortitude and earthly natural essence combined with your intuitive spiritual persona brings magnificence to your melanin aura. Even your very, very, very body aroma smells the aroma of sweet morning nectar. No matter what shade or hue or what body figure measurements, your beauty is unquestionable. For inside you is an indigenous nature making you one with nature. And with all these God-given assets, you can never, ever be replaced, cloned, imitated. For no imitation measures up, not by one single iota. You are a walking melanin indigenous queendom.
Powerful, powerful. Silent applause, Elder. Just keep going.
Okay, my next one is I wrote this because of the present situation concerning the COVID-19 virus and the fact that we have to wear masks now and the quarantine. So here it goes. Hardcore to the core. I had to take off masks and tear down walls. Masks to hide my insecurities, fears, and anxieties. Masks to assume one of the multiplicable identities. Walls I built around me to make me feel safe and secure because the child within did not want to be hurt anymore. The masquerade has ended and the facades could not stand any longer. Finally secure enough within myself and psyche to find acceptance of self and boldly become more transparent. Then unexpectedly, suddenly, without my permission, comes the COVID-19 plan pandemic. No more building walls. I'm quarantined within walls. No more changing theoretical masks. For now, I wear a physical, tangible mask. Watching Fade and I, and he sit back in the audience and laugh, making remarks like, and he thought he would never be surrounded by walls, and that he would never, ever wear another mask. Mm-mm-mm.
Amazing. That's so timely. That's so timely.
Wow.
That's so
Wow.
timely. That's so timely. You got another one for us, Elder?
Yes, this one is called Ink Manifestations. Now we can all give up or get up and rock ferocious. Second this emotion, we can put it all in motion. Educate with classes called survival of the fittest, teaching proper etiquette, the proper nutrition. No marching or petitions, learn from our lessons, get politically advantaged, increase economics, unify or die, the art of war strategic. I fiend the nationalism of a strong black nation. Why I'm conscientious and ink scribe conscience? I'm trying to get the message to the hungry and the starving. Oppression is depressive. When you're quite defenseless, no knowledge of self, you did not study the oppressor. Getting tight with the pressure of a COVID-19 virus, thinking 5G towers and that radiation, sensationalism, and proper propaganda, manipulative media's chaos and panic. That's why I'm coming at you with solutive thinking. The battlefield is real when you're dealing with demons, targeting all melanin. The war's on, my knucker. Obedience to God is how you slay a tyrant. Sick and tired, trying, being tired of their lying, scheming and conniving, every civil right banished. In the Big Brother era, the world of surveillance, the study and dissecting us like an evil professor. I don't come lesser. This is the Elder X confession. I studied the homework and the mathematics. I'm trying to get my brothers to king up with the knowledge. I'm trying to get my sisters to a righteous queendom. It's never what you barking, but the way that you're living. Don't be about destroying when we should be building. Put out the red carpet. Elder X is in the building. Microphone gripping. The Mac of Maximilian. Jewels and knowledge cipher. My verbal is priceless. Poetically inclined. I could trip out on Einstein. Philosophers and prophets want to read my mind. The peoples understand me because I'm of their kind. Line for line rhyming, I keep applying each manifestations, facts 100. Line for line rhyming, I keep applying ink manifestations, facts 100. And that's that piece.
Amazing. Is that what you're going to do for us this evening, Elder X? Or do you have one more?
I have another one. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay. And this is for kind of a shout out to this woman. If you can see her, her name, I forgot her last name. If someone could help me, Sarah. It began with a B. She's world renowned for quite a tragic life. She had big hips. They put her in the zoo, treated her like an animal, and basically at that time, that's how they looked at black women. And unfortunately, that still happens today. So I wrote a poem about it, and it goes like this. And I'm speaking from a woman, as if a woman was speaking. The world shall respect me, paying homage to our black queens. And if this world is a stage, I stay consistently displayed by eye rapes that undress me late nights and early mornings. Fascinated by my hips and myths of my sexual prowess, that I'm an insatiable nymph who makes a man's toes curls. It's like all men are Klansmen with white hoods, faces hidden. But as they sit in the audience with hands clapping in worship, I see some of their black hands have the blackness of my own black-skinned people. What a horrific, degrading evil when your own ethnic people add to the biased prejudice of downgrading a black woman. Ass backwards, jackasses, still believing that women are only good for making babies and staying barefoot in kitchens, remaining submissive. No matter what they say or how they see me, I look into my vanity handheld mirror and see a woman made by God to fulfill a godly purpose. I'm more than a sex object and too intelligent to be any man's maid servant. I am a strong queen black woman who shall stand regal and royal with a command performance of righteous moral conduct, deserving from the world a standing ovation. If this world is a stage, I stay consistently displayed by eye rapes that undress me late nights and early mornings. I am more than what I am perceived to be. I am a daughter of the most highest being. I'm walking. I'm not on my knees. I'm not crawling. The world shall respect me. That's that
Wow.
piece.
Wow. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen because get I want to get the information out there for Elder X's tip jar. But while that's on screen, hopefully you all can see it. This is the tip jar for Elder X. Genius. Anybody thinking about that word? Ms. Belinda, what do you say in response to Wayne Gooden and his presentation?
You go, Elder.
I mean,
Thank you.
just poetic
Yes,
genius. Poetic
yes,
genius. What about you,
absolutely.
Mrs. Roach?
There are no words. He is so fantastic. It's so inspiring, and it really feels good to find someone who is uplifting women. Um, I mean, at this time and day, I mean, we're all struggling. We're all struggling, but it really feels good to have somebody who um, looks at the women's spirit and is so in love with it.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
really impressed, Elder X. I'm really impressed. Thank you
So,
so much for your poetry and for your powerful words.
so
Thank
am
you.
I, and I've long been. Well, everybody, you know the drill. I kept up on the screen even why we got comments and feedback on Elder X's fantastic presentation, because I want you to see his tip jar. And you know, I think it's appropriate. If you fear change, leave it here in the tip jar. Okay.
I'm going to the tip jar.
now, now this is the challenge. I have Elder X's Cash App ID. Okay, so I thought we were only going to have PayPal. I had told Mr. Perkins that to let me have his PayPal account, but Elder X got me his Cash App ID. So if any of you all have Cash App, we can't see you. You should be, you know, on there right now, getting a tip to Elder X because of that, you know, powerful, powerful performance. I mean, this I just can't overstate the quality of the words that he has shared, and also um, the quality of his performance. He brings you in. When you say, Ms. Roach, you are a creative director, he definitely brings us in.
Absolutely, he commands the stage, and he sets the environment. So did you understand what's going on? It's really good,
Yes,
really good.
yes.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, so get a tip in to Brother Gooden for what he gave us here this evening, and it was Gooden.
Thank you.
Did y'all get that? Did y'all see what I did? Gooden.
We sure did.
Okay, this is a tough crowd. This is a tough crowd. And then when you have a tough crowd, okay, I'm gonna see if I can do this. Um, I'm gonna end this show. And I'm just gonna stop sharing and come back to sharing, so I can go to our next video presentation. Because when you got a tough crowd, you got to bring in the heavy artillery, and that's what I'm gonna do. So let me see. Okay, here I think I can do it. Everybody still with me? Can you see?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, then I'm getting ready to do our next video intro of our next spoken word poet, and like I say, you'll understand why when I say that when your crowd is tough, you just pull out this video. Okay, everybody mute. Everybody mute. I'm getting ready
Okay.
to get started. Chuck Perkins is a poet, orator, narrator, and activist who infuses the rhythms and vernacular from the Crescent City into his musical spoken word pieces. The New Orleans Times-Picayune says that he recites poetry like a prize fighter, always going for a knockout. Chuck has performed internationally at London's prestigious South Bank Centre with Amiri Baraka, as well as in Paris, Toulouse, Manchester, Liverpool, Cambridge, and Amsterdam. In sharing a little about his youth online, Mr. Perkins explains, "I always had the ability to excel in school, but I had an affinity for playing a little across the line. I was a complex teenager who felt at home housing schoolyard dice games or leading discussions in history class." Perkins currently owns Cafe Istanbul, a performance venue where he hosts Poets on Poets every Monday at 10 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Perkins.
Can you hear me? Okay. I
Yes,
just
we
want to say,
can.
Yes,
all right, all right.
Hey, Chuck.
First of all, thank you, Melinda, so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed this. Sarah, you are awesome. I'm a big fan. I'm expecting big things from you. Brother Elder, same. You know, you are awesome, my brother. And the sister you were talking about, she was like put in a zoo in England. I think her name is Sarah Barton. That's who you were talking about.
That's right. That's right.
And in fact, just recently there was I saw something in the paper. New York City has its own sordid history of doing that sort of thing. There was a black man who they put in the zoo in New York, I think in 1906, and he was there for a week, and it was like similar to what happened to the sister in England. But thank you guys very much for inviting me. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Since we're talking about political prisoners, being here in New Orleans, we got the state prison in Louisiana is named after an African country. The name of the Louisiana state prison is Angola. And so we had some political prisoners here, and they were Elbert Woodfox, Herman Wallace, and Robert King. And Brother Woodfox, he got out, he was the last one to get out, and his brother spent 41 years in solitary confinement. Combined, the three of them, they call them the Angola Three, Elbert Woodfox, Herman Wallace, and Robert King, they spent over 110 years in solitary confinement. Yes, right here in the United States of America. Now, I gotta say this, Brother Herman Wallace, the man was dying, and a judge in wherever the prison is said to let him go, to release him from prison. But he was terminally ill, and effectively the judge was just saying, he got days to live, let him go home to die. And the DA down there said, no, bring him back. Would not let this man who had spent all of his prison incarcerated, would not let him just go home and die with dignity. And so before I get started with the poetry, I was honored when Brother Herman Wallace passed away. I was asked to read a poem at his funeral, which I did. And so I'm gonna read to you guys, this is what I wrote about Brother Wallace. This is from about 5 years ago. The plantation turned penitentiary is still a plantation. 300 years of rich Louisiana topsoil watered from the sweat of free labor. Tell Warden Kane that Herman Wallace, Robert King, and Elbert Woodfox have exposed Angola's wretched plan of profiting by turning men into animals. The gig is up, the curtains have been pulled back. The interrogation light is shining in the face of Boss Hog, Kane, and the rest of his prison administration. The entire world sees the rotten plantation politics, his fraudulent laws, framing leaders who work in lawlessness. Your farm is a money maker. You say it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep the slaves slaves and make examples of anyone who reminds them they're men. Boyles Kane, you can send our trifecta of heroes to solitary confinement for 110 collective years, but you can't silence them. Their voice is a fermenter of insurrection, a gift from the ancestors that can't be turned down or off. Their eternal flame will forever speak out against injustices and inhumanity of your working plantation. They have exposed your antiquated 21st century free labor mill. The memory of Herman Wallace is an unshakable call to burn down the farm. His voice is an eternal cry for justice. After 41 years of solitary confinement, his ability to still laugh was an unrelenting sign of his humanity. He'd be a Black Panther rebel rouser, an audacious reminder of truth and fairness. His soul will rest in the pantheon of African martyrs. Somebody please tell West Feliciana District Attorney Samuel D. Aquila that they can lock him up, but they can't hold him down. The spirit of Herman Wallace is unchainable.
Yes, I am Herman Wallace.
The cracking whip still haunts me. Woo! I'm just a man, blood and bones. Slavery tried to break me. My back is weary, but I'm still standing. Your unjust laws forsake thee. It's a gross reality of stamping the victim with the scarlet letter of guilt. And now we must convince the world, and more importantly ourselves, that we are not responsible for doing what has been done to us. The music makes me free. I feel it in my body. I gotta move my feet. The music's gonna save me, but the drums make me free. The music's gonna save me, but the drums make me free. All this talk about liberty and justice for all, and niggas still on paper. My son, even if they rip you out of my arms, even if they drag me from the sight of your scared, precious eyes, kicking and screaming, even if you can no longer see my scarred body and my troubled mind, even if you are beyond earshot of my emasculated pleas of mercy that burns into embers of curses and condemnation, even if you never know that my most vivid dreams in a world without your baby sentence are sepia tone and flat, and how every day I stand one breath away from suffocating in a cauldron of anguish over you. Even if you can never understand my conundrum of wanting to be a good father in these heavy chains, and that my thin skin and callous hands are no armor against their big bullets that can pulverize my bones, you should know that this hell is temporal and earthly, and that our Holy Spirit lay claim to the blessed realm of the ancestors. I will always love you, and we will never be alone. Regardless of how many oceans they wedge between us, we will never be without each other. I raised both hands, but you didn't shoot me. You aim your gun at an apparition, a monster constructed in your head, a gift to you by the sins of your father. This brute won't leave. He howls in your head every time you see me. This was not about today. Your hate is too big to be frivolous. You shot to slay the monster. He's the criminal. Your ghost looks just like me. But I'm just a man, flesh and bones. My blood flows like a river, but you didn't shoot me.
Ooh.
Our King's English was a white paper bag test. If our words didn't genuflect off our tongue while politely landing on all listening ears, the outsiders would judge us harshly. And we wouldn't give up, but they would judge us harshly. Our communities were seen as leper's colonies of thieves, containing only active criminals and future ones, so black boys handcuffed and spread eagle on the ground could end up with the bullet in the head, placed there by those who's supposed to protect and serve. It's the police running their negative action programs with kangaroo courts popping out of the trunk of their cruisers, all decked out with the instant trial and a hanging judge. You can catch a bullet and not have to wait. And when the innocent amongst us are befallen by the viciousness of the friendly fire, the collective consciousness of the outsiders was at peace, resting on a casualty of war euphemism for an act that was anything but casual. That was an innocent child of God's lying there. When growing up hood, we learned that guts and brains splatter across sidewalks, all look the same, regardless of a person's color or class, but that a pound of black flesh must weigh less than a pound of white flesh. Why else would our victimization be so grossly less substantial? They must be joking, but the rhythms don't rhyme. If they call this justice, they're losing their mind. The hood seeing nightmares while ivory towers dream. Black faces turn red because blue don't roll on white with green. If you can't pay the fine, don't do the crime. White got probation for snorting lines. A new neighbor called and dropped a dime. Black caught a nickel for smoking pine. But he rode like a soldier and took his lick. While white got probation for flipping bricks. He's heavy token, but white's doing fine. Everybody's smoking, but black's doing time. Arrest that black rode a white horse. Arrest that thug. White fell on black tar. I think he needs a hug. I don't care what you do. If you black like me, you better watch blue. And blue could be black, and blue could be white, but blue is raiding in the hood tonight. And I don't care how fair it seems, blue don't roll on white with green. I don't care how fair it seems, blue don't roll on white with green. Blue roll on brown, beat 'em black and blue. Then he put a gun to his head, and then he rolled on black and he beat him too. Why you gotta kill a man dead? A crowd gathered around with disbelieving eyes. You should have heard his mother cry. She fell to her knees, stretched her arms to God, screaming, please don't let my son die. Blue shot, black dead, left him soaked in red. What in the devil's going on? We all scratched our head when the judge said, well, Mr. Blue, you can go home. The whole courtroom sighed with disbelieving eyes. You should have heard his mother cry. She fell to her knees, stretched her arms to God, screaming, why? And I don't care how fair it seems, blue don't roll on white with green. And I don't care how fair it seems, blue don't roll, blue don't roll, blue don't roll on white with green. Thanks a lot, y'all.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to do a little bit more business, but I'm determined that my voice is not going to be the last one we hear tonight. So Brother Perkins, get ready. I need you to find one more in your repertoire and take us out of here. But let me handle some business. Just 1 second. Okay, so you all know what this is. We got a tip jar for Mr. Perkins. And you see what he's pointing to. Boats can tip, so can you. And that's what we want you all to do right now. Go to perkins.clark@gmail.com. Now that's the PayPal, that's Mr. Perkins' daughter's PayPal account. So if you just go to PayPal, if you have a PayPal account, you can log in and just send your tip to this email address, and it will reach Mr. Perkins' daughter at perkins.clark@gmail.com. Okay? Now, what you see on the screen now, that's a list of everybody's tip jar. We got Sarah's PayPal account. We've got Elder X, Mr. Gooden's Cash App. We've got the PayPal email address that we're going to use for Mr. Perkins. Now, if you're having any difficulty, you can send the payment to paypal.me/RLC4J. That's my office, the Rod-Logal Center for Justice. If you indicate who the tip is for, we'll make sure that we get the tip to the right performer. Don't forget, we ask for your selfies, free Marafa selfies. We want you to send them to marafawatch@gmail.com. Now, the last thing I want for you all to take a look at is, I want you to look on your screen on the left. That's an original charcoal on newsprint by one of the artists that's featured by the U.S. Friends of Marafa Committee in Theater for Justice. Her name is Felicita Luna. We're going to have some art from Elder X and some other artists. But my point is, it doesn't cost anything to like and share our gallery collection that's online. Now you see on the screen, there's the link, facebook.com page RLC4J. That's the link to the online gallery for the Rod-Logal Center for Justice. Now, it doesn't cost a dime to share that link, promote that link. Now, I anticipate that a print of Felicita's piece, it's on the left. That's, you know, if you're looking at the screen, is on your left. That piece is called Awaken. And if you wanted to get a print of that original, I imagine it might cost about $50. The original is $500. But what I want you to see is next to Felicita's work is a painting by Picasso, and it's valued at approximately $28 million. Now, you look at it and you be the judge. $500, $50 print is very Picasso-like, is the point I'm making. And a Picasso original painting is approximately $28 million. Hopefully you recognize the fine quality of art that Theater for Justice makes available at affordable prices, and is all for the cause of justice. Tonight, we witness fine art. So let's be sure to thank our poets by going to their tip jar and sending them, you know, a generous contribution. And whatever you do, please don't forget Marafa. All we're asking for is your free Marafa selfie. If you can get that to marafawatch@gmail.com, I certainly would appreciate it. The U.S. Friends for Marafa Committee would appreciate it. We got 1 minute. Thanks to all my technical difficulties and challenges, we were delayed. So if you hang with us for as long as you can, I'm going to ask Mr. Perkins to end the evening with a selection of his choice.
Dr. Z, before he do that,
okay.
When he finished up with the last thing, I have Katrina here, my daughter, and she wants to give us a drum beat of her talent, and that's going to take us out. Okay.
There you go. Okay, Mr. Perkins, and then we're going to go to Katrina.
Okay.
If today were the worst day ever, anything short of death, we still have tomorrow. Tomorrow's another shot at the fork in the road. It's a chance to stand after your kneecaps have been shattered. Tomorrow's blue skies are green. It has no memories of the day's slip-ups. It has no memories of the day's savagery. It has no memory of today's savagery. Tomorrow's another, when the sun rises, it's tomorrow waking up, flashing its brilliant smile. When the sun rises, it's tomorrow waking up, flashing its brilliant smile. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, y'all. I wanted to do one that was really hopeful, and I probably need to say it once or twice in my head before I try to just do it. Like, I'm getting older now. I made 55 2 days ago. So.
Oh, you're a baby.
I'm a baby. All right, well, if I don't want to leave like that, so I'll just read something that I have right here.
Okay,
sorry
go ahead.
That. Next time I'm gonna leave with something more hopeful. Let's see, where is it? The pleasant dreamer cannot understand why the nightmare dreamer is so disruptive. The pleasant dreamer wants to bask in the sanctuary of his delightful getaway, and he doesn't believe that it's asking too much for the nightmare dreamer to control his outbursts and suffer his horrors in silence. Images in popular culture be hurt more brothers than Johnny Weissmuller in a 1940 Tarzan movie. Gangster images be beating the pants off young brothers. Images they should be trying to escape. Desperados are born in hoods where low-lying dreams hang like distant fantasies. Innocence is the bloody mark of the victim. Smells like makes the wolves crazy. This aroma arouses their senses like the pungent scent of raw flesh, so the softest souls fabricate hardcore facades trying to keep the dogs off their bones. Sheep run with wolves, chickens learn to bark. Tragic casualties of poverty and fear. Fear is like bad gas. Everybody has it at some point, but nobody's claiming ownership. It is the coward's perspiration, the burnt refuse of a piss-pumping heart. Dudes learn to camouflage their fears with gold-toothed smiles, some innocent tattoos, and mad dog stares, because in the hood, fear is for hoes, but in reality, it's suicide logic. Some dudes posture when they should run. Epic, I'll die. Let them come. You gotta get it like you live, dog. So dogs eat dogs. So.
Wow.
Powerful. You know, these contributions, they don't have to end because of our programming ending. For all of you who can hang with us, we lost at least 10 or 15 minutes due to technical difficulty. So if you can give Katrina that 10 or 15 minutes, we certainly would appreciate it. Go ahead, Katrina, wow us.
You only need 3 seconds. Go ahead, Katrina, hit it, go.
Oh yeah, there you go. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Everybody, it's been wonderful. We got to do this again, don't you think? Go ahead and log into the Marafa Watch app. We'll have it on the Facebook, and so we can start doing this on a regular basis. Sometimes we got to put down our sword and pick up our microphone, pick up our paintbrush, pick up whatever we use to give art to the world. So thank you for joining us tonight, and see you again, I hope, real soon. Good night, everybody. Oh, and I'll have a report as to the tips that we have a record of and the pledges, and then I'll communicate with the artists, and we'll try to let everybody know how well we did. Thank you so much, everybody.